ഈ കോവിഡ് കാലത്ത് രോഗങ്ങൾ അകറ്റൂ, ആരോഗ്യം സംരക്ഷിക്കൂ. Tiara SS water tanks. Live up your class.
Interesting. I can only call it an Alphonse Putran genre. It is nothing like Premam. Maybe it's closer to Neram, and he is just got that talent of seeing everything so differently. I keep asking him, like, how did you come up with that? It's just somebody sitting on a table and eating puttu and kadala. But how did you come up with that? So he has that quirky thought process in him.
The big buzz going around. You're a part of Salar.
Yeah, I did meet Prashanth for Salar. And also it's a big commitment. I think it's a kick-ass script. More the director in me thinking, oh, I would love to see Prabhas in this. And it's a great role for me. Plus Prashanth Neel.
Prashanth Neel is one of India's best directors.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't want to work with him? First thing that struck me as soon as I heard the script is, it's been a long time since I saw something like this in Malayalam. Mass, masala, action, entertainer. And the story is set in the early 90s. This periodic backdrop of early 90s and this Malayali swag associated with it and all that. All the reference films that came to my mind were mostly Shaji Kailas Joshi films. So this is more or less a comeback for a legendary filmmaker in Malayalam. A very keen observer of cinema and cinema language. When you watch Lucifer, you will have very clear points where you know, okay, that is a Shaji Kailas inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah. First name we started discussing was Biju Menon.
Yeah, but you already had done Ayyappan Ghoshi.
I had not at that point. So then the next option I voiced out was Vivek Oberoi, and everybody immediately jumped at it. Even though he plays a very suave police officer, at the end of the day, he's a Pala Achayan. And obviously, he's a fantastic actor. I don't think he's still been fully explored. I can say that because I have directed him.
You lost about 10 or 15 kilos.
The story in itself is very universal. The film has so many events and so many things happening that to me, it seems like a very engaging, entertaining kind of a film in a very different way. Nobody has still seen me at my thinnest for Aadajivdam. Now I'm trying to put some weight back on, some healthy weight back on. So now I'm enjoying some good food and working out and all that.
Hello, welcome to Red Carpet, India Glitz Show. And I have with me the man who is at the moment creating waves in the Kerala box office and has also moved up the ladder with Jana Gana Mana. Yes, I have with me Prithviraj. He is hot and happening and the biggest at the box office at the moment. Welcome to the show, Prith.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Now let's come to your big release, this Friday release.
Yeah.
That is Kaduva.
Yeah.
You are teaming up with Shaji Kailas.
Yeah.
Commercially, a very big director
Yes.
in Malayalam cinema. And the trailer has impressed everybody because you are wearing a mundan and you are giving the spewing punchline.
Yeah.
And it looks good.
Yeah.
At least it looks racy, and like you said, with a bag of popcorn, you can enjoy. It's just pure entertainment.
That's it. Yeah. Thing is, I heard the script of Kaduva in 2019, beginning months of 2019. Even back then, the first thing that struck me as soon as I heard the script is, it's been a long time since I saw something like this in Malayalam. First thing I thought was, man, I don't remember the last time I saw something like this in Malayalam. I don't remember the last time I did something like this in Malayalam. And it's that typical, mass, masala, action, entertainer. And the story is set in the early 90s. So because of that backdrop of this periodic backdrop of early 90s and this Malayali swag associated with it and all that, all the reference films that came to my mind were mostly Shaji Kailas Joshi films.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, Mr. Shaji Kailas he's been staying away from Malayalam cinema for a good 7-8 years, even back then. So I was the one who called him. And I said, listen, I've listened to a script, which I think would...
So this is Shaji's film after 5 or 6 years?
No, I think now in 2022, it is almost 9 or 10 years now. So it's been, it's a comeback of sorts for who's...
I think he has done Mohanlal's Alone also.
That was, he shot it after Kaduva.
Okay.
Yeah, he finished Kaduva and he shot Alone after Kaduva. So this is more or less a comeback for a legendary filmmaker in Malayalam. And Shajiatan, to me, I have always held him in very high regard because I truly believe that he's one of those rare filmmakers who at one point in time single-handedly brought in a very pronounced change to the filmmaking language in mainstream cinema in Malayalam. I, for one, I know I'm inspired by Shaji Kailas, the filmmaker. A very keen observer of cinema and cinema language. When you watch Lucifer, you will have very clear points where you know, okay, that is a Shaji Kailas inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of punchlines, and I mean, they are what do you call? I would call them masala entertainers.
Yeah, it is that. It is pretty much that. And what is, see, in 2009, that was what I was getting at. In 2019, when I heard the script, the first thing that struck me is that we are not making these kind of films anymore. Now in 2022, 3 years later, I think a lot of people share that sentiment. You know, you go and have a conversation about cinema in Malayalam amongst your friend circles, or if it's a discussion, or if it's a discourse, one recurring narrative is that we are coming up with great content, we are making fantastic films, we are making very real, cerebral, intellectually reposable, socially relevant cinema. But what happened to that mass masala action entertainer genre? I mean, did we just forget it? So I think now at a point of time where a lot of people share the opinion that Malayalam is truly missing one of those popcorn films, I'm glad Kaduva is hitting the screens, you know, when that narrative is very, very vociferous.
And what is the Vivek, how did you get him into this film?
So, interestingly...
because you have done Lucifer with him already.
Yes.
So, he was a pal.
See, interestingly, when I first heard the script of Kaduva in beginning 2019, the first name we started discussing was Biju Menon.
Yeah, but you already had done Ayyappan Goshim.
I had not at that point. Then Ayyappan Goshim happened and it went on to become such a cult hit, you know. We realized that we can't really be repeating this casting, especially in a film like this. So then the next option I voiced out was Vivek Oberoi, and everybody immediately jumped at it. The only concern I had was, unlike Lucifer, where he's playing a very you know, metro, modern kind of a guy. In this, he is, even though he plays a very suave police officer, at the end of the day, he's a Pala Achayan, you know, to get that nativity and rooted nature of the character. But hats off to him. I mean, he sort of came and he listened to what the film is about. And all the questions he asked me, I remember during the shoot, was not about his character. He kept asking me about, tell me more about this place, you know. So tell me, how do people like this make friends from church? How are families here? What is the history of this plantation belt? And all that he wanted to know was that. Then I realized that he was trying to create, you know, something for his character. So it is amazing that an actor will walk into a film, think like that and make that effort. And obviously, he's a fantastic actor. I think I don't think he's still been fully explored. I can say that because I have directed him. And him doing the character that he did in Kaduva is a huge plus point for the film. And yeah, you know, at the end of the day, we wanted somebody who can bring in that sense of authority, you know, who could actually come across as someone who might take the other character down. You know, it was important that it felt like there were two equal forces. So,
and in this film, is the lady character having any importance, or?
I mean, I'm not going to say that she plays a central role, but it is an important character, because what happens is, after a point, the tussle between these two people, as is always the case, starts affecting their families in a big way. And it especially starts affecting Kuruvachan's family, because what happens is, Kuruvachan does not have, you know, the government authority backing him, unlike the other person. So at one point, Kuruvachan's family is dragged into it in a very not so nice fashion. And there, his wife Elsa and his children, they all become significant characters in the film. Okay. And even Vivek's wife, played by Priyanka, was also a character in the film. Yeah.
What next after this? You have been to Jordan.
Yeah.
You were there for the last 3 months.
I was in Algeria for a month and a half, and then Jordan for a month and a half. Yeah.
Okay, all dry countries.
Yeah, well, it's a film like that. So.
Okay, and then you lost about 10 or 15 kilos.
I keep saying this. So nobody's still seen me at my thinnest for Aadajivdam. Because what has happened is...
But I saw some stills that have come with your beard, shaggy beard and all.
That is not me at my thinnest for the film.
Yeah.
That was in 2020 when we first went to Jordan, and before the pandemic struck us and we had to stop shoot. Luckily, we finished that portion. So I was in Jordan when I really dropped down to my lowest weight in my entire adult life, actually. I had lost about 30 kilos from the first schedule of Aadajivdam. This time when I went, I didn't have to thin down that much because we had already finished those portions. We have deliberately not released any stills from the film because we want people to discover it when they see the film, or maybe closer to the film releasing. Now I'm trying to put some weight back on, some healthy weight back on. So now I'm enjoying some good food and working out and all that. So
Okay. This Aadu Jeevitham would be a touch of class, or what is?
I don't know how, as someone who's very much a part of that film, I can claim it to be anything. But yeah, we are hoping to make a piece of cinema that will travel around the world.
Okay, it will be the it will see the festivals. You're hoping.
Make no mistake, it's a very commercial, mainstream kind of narrative that the film has. But if you have read the book, you will know that the story in itself is very universal. You know, Blessy has designed it like an event film. Although it is very much a travel with the character, the film has so many events and so many things happening that it's, to me, it seems like a very engaging, entertaining kind of a film in a very different way. But we do hope to travel the international circuit with the film. We have legends associated with the film like Mr. A.R. Rahman and Mr. Rasul Pokuti. Hopefully, we'll be able to tie up with the studio and, you know, get a release outside India in a proper fashion.
Okay, so it'll take some time.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the big buzz going around. You're part of Salar with Prashanth Neel.
Yeah.
Did you meet him in Bangalore by any chance?
I meet Prashanth now and then. Every now and then. He's like, if I'm in Bangalore and Prashanth is free, or if he's in Hyderabad and I'm free, we meet up with no agenda, you know. But yeah, I did meet Prashanth for Salar. And he had given me a narration long back when the film first came to me. So I sort of, both of us sat and went through the current draft of the script. And yeah, we are trying our best to make sure that, you know, there's some arrangement we can come to where my dates work for them. Basically, Prabhas' dates and my dates sort of work, because it's very important that when I give them a commitment, I should be very, very sure that later on I don't become a problem, you know, for the project.
Okay.
And also, it's a big commitment. It's a big film to be shot across months. So it's not like I can go shoot it for 25 days and come back. It's not that. I have to.
You have to travel with the film.
Yeah, I have to keep giving them dates like every month, you know, like that. But I definitely want to do it. I want to do it for multiple reasons. One, and the biggest reason of all is that I think it's a kick-ass script. Secondly, I think it's a kind of film that you really want to see Prabhas in. When I listened to the script of Salar, you know, it was more the director in me thinking, oh, I would love to see Prabhas in this. And it's a great role for me. And I would love to share that thing with Prabhas on screen. Plus Prashanth Neel, you know, I mean, who wouldn't...
Prashanth Neel is one of India's best directors.
Absolutely, who wouldn't want to work with him? And to top it all, it's produced by Home Bale, who are like now...
By the way, you have signed one more film with Home Bale, which...
I'm directing a film for them, yes, I am. They, like I said, I mean, they are now very close friends of mine, you know, like we share similar vision and ideas about cinema. And they are amazing, you know, the conviction and the belief they have in their craft and their skill of producing films and releasing it is amazing. If you ever get a chance, you should speak to Vijay Kiragandur. And
I know him well.
Yeah, he is amazing.
Yeah. So the way it's the Prithviraj and Prabhas will work together.
Well, I'm
hoping.
Yeah, I'm also hoping. I'm also hoping. It is just that, like I said, you know, if it were a film where I go and shoot for 40 days and come back and I'm done with it, I wouldn't have even thought of it. You know, like I'm very, very particular, especially it's so many of my friends involved with it, you know, like Prashanth and Home Bale. I'm very particular that once I say yes to it, I should never be a problem for them. It shouldn't be that they put up this giant set somewhere and everybody ends up waiting for me. I don't want that to happen. So,
okay. So, Janagana Mana is a huge hit.
Thankfully, yes.
Yeah. How did it go? In South, I thought that it did very well in Tamil Nadu and Andhra.
Karnataka,
Yeah, Andhra.
Yeah, I mean, Janagana Mana, we always knew was a film that would communicate outside of Kerala. In an ideal world, I know Janagana Mana should have had a wider release, a more vociferous marketing campaign prior to its release. I know that. But unfortunately, we were left in a situation where, because of the pandemic and what happened due to the various stoppages and obstacles that the shoot of Janagana Mana had to face, we really couldn't plan the release. You know, we didn't know when we would be able to release the film. And finally, it so happened that when we eventually got a release date and we knew, okay, on this date, guaranteed we can hit the theatres, I was away shooting for RDG with them in Algeria. So it was a huge miss, or else this multi-city marketing campaign that you are seeing right now would have started with Janaganamana. But no complaints, the film went on to do very, very well. It did very well at the box office. It made us a lot of money. But I think what is even more important is it really generated a lot of conversation. You know, people spoke about the film. It served as another, sort of catalyst among many of late.
I think in 2022, it's one of the big hits.
Yeah.
And the trade says that it has crossed more than 50 to 60 crores for a Malayalam film.
It has, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, I mean, these number, parameters will keep changing because as we go ahead, well, ticket prices will go up and releases will become wider and our overseas agreement and understanding and revenue generation models are changing now. Like, for example, Janaganamana was not sold outright outside of India. We still had a partnership distribution deal with Fars Films and it turned out to be a hugely profitable understanding.
The money comes back to you.
Yeah, for both of us, both Fars Films and for us, it turned out to be a hugely profitable association. So I think as these business models keep changing, the 50 crore glass ceiling will slowly become a 75 crore glass ceiling.
It would have gone up because if, looking at an all India level, it would go up to 100 even.
Exactly. So that is not what going ahead should be the cornerstone when you try and put a film together. But especially for a film like Janaganamana.
You pre-sold the satellite and the OTT rights also, no?
Yeah, OTT rights and satellite pre-sold, as in we did not do what most other people are tempted to do these days, which is sell them while shooting or before you start shooting. We finished the product. I am a firm believer in letting all our equity partners know exactly what they're getting into. So I give my digital partners and my satellite partners a very, very clear indication. I'm open to them coming and watching the footage because I believe they should know what they're acquiring. So we don't pre-sell as in pre-sell before shoot or pre-sell while the shoot is happening. We make sure that the project execution is entirely funded by ourselves and which also gives us a lot of liberty. But yeah, what is important, especially for a film like Janaganamana, unlike a film like Kaduva, is that it tries and hits a spot where people start talking about it.
Yeah.
Because Janaganamana is that.
I think it's got a huge buzz about it.
Yes. Kaduva is a film where you only hope that people go to the theaters with a big bag of popcorn, enjoy, have fun, enjoy, clap hands, and hoot and whistle and come back. I don't expect people to be speaking about Kaduva for 2 days after they have seen it. But I hoped they would for Janaganamana, and they did. So it's very, very gratifying for an actor and for a producer when you plan something regarding a film and that plan hits the bullseye.
Now about Gold.
Yeah.
I think it's your Onam release or something, no?
We are hoping to hit the screens in Onam. The film is done. We've shot it entirely, and Alphonse is more or less done with the post-production also.
What genre would you say that film for?
Interesting. I can only call it an Alphonse Putran genre. Yeah, because you will know what I'm talking about when you see the film. It is nothing like Premam. That much I can tell you. Maybe if you want to draw a comparison, maybe it's closer to Neram. His previous film, yeah, because Premam is all about love. This is not that. It's more like a fun, quirky entertainer, and he is just got that talent of seeing everything so differently. Like it might be a scene of me eating puttu and kadala, but the way he sees that scene is very different.
Okay.
Yeah, and I keep asking him like, how did you come up with that? It's just somebody sitting on a table and eating puttu and kadala. But how did you come up with that? So he has that quirky thought process in him, which I think is his biggest strength as a filmmaker. Yeah, I mean he's an editor by profession. He's a wonderful filmmaker. He's a great writer. But I think his biggest strength is that he sees things differently. A lot like Lijo. Yeah, he also sees things differently.
I heard the driving license Hindi is over and there are plans to make it in Tamil also.
Well, there are plans, but no other language has been officially confirmed with regard to anything. Because we are producing the Hindi version too with Akshay Kumar sir and Imran Hashmi. It's a partnership production with Dharma and we have finished shooting. So we want that film to come out We want to release the Hindi version first, and then we will decide
It will
how.
come this year, sir.
Yeah, it will. Then we want to take a decision on what the course of action should be for Tamil and Telugu and Kannada.
Okay. And Ayappanam Koshi, the Telugu version, and is over with that. There's no Hindi version. I think John is doing some Hindi version.
Unfortunately, I'm not the producer of Ayappanam Koshi.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Ranjit Etan, my mentor. He was a producer, so he sold the rights to some other producer. So I have nothing to do with Ayappanam Koshim remix.
Yeah. Okay, because it's male machoism that you excel in.
Me? No, actually it's Sachi. Sachi excels in bringing out great stories from that area.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it is something that you can sort of say a lot of stories based on, isn't it?
Yeah.
ഈ കോവിഡ് കാലത്ത് രോഗങ്ങൾ അകറ്റൂ, ആരോഗ്യം സംരക്ഷിക്കൂ. ടിയാറ എസ്എസ് വാട്ടർ ടാങ്ക്സ്, ലീവ് അപ്പ് യുവർ ക്ലാസ്.